just they're market driven. Sales are down. Just the overall state of the economy. They're downsizing.
Did you see it coming?
No, I don't think so. It's always in the back of your mind. You start, I guess the older you get more accustomed to anticipating things happening. So, but no, I don't think anybody anticipated this coming. We just hired, at Lordstown, we just hired 1,400 people 6 months before they started downsizing. So I think it caught everybody by surprise.
How many people have been laid off?
To date, there's been probably over 1,000 people. I'm not sure exactly because it's always changing, and there's some new numbers that they anticipate next month. But they've eliminated a shift, and there's been over 1,000 people laid off, and their current plans are to lay off about 1,000 more people next month. So, but we're hoping that doesn't happen, but that's their plan at this point.
What are your feelings as far as the money that General Motors has received from the federal government? And what are your feelings as far as, do you feel whether it will correct the situation, and how do you feel there's any hope of recovery for General Motors? And if so, why or why not?
That's the million-dollar question. Yeah, that's a good question, and it's hard to answer that not being biased. But I would say that GM has a strong chance of surviving, whether it's with the money or with the alternatives, which would be bankruptcy. But I know the steps that they've taken over the last few years to get to that point. I think in some ways they're more prepared than people think. It's sort of the perfect storm that really swept them up. As far as the money that they received, how do I feel about that? You have to remember that the money that they really took was a loan. It wasn't just money that was given to them. The money does have to be paid back. For me, if you put the amount of money that GM has been asking for and received in context with the total stimulus and TARP funds, I don't think it's unreasonable, considering the amount of jobs and business that the automobile industry supports. So, and the fact that the money does have to be paid back, I don't think they should just be given the money. But if they're able to loan them the money, I don't think it's an unreasonable request considering all the money that's been handed out. No.
Well, considering that you said you didn't really see it coming, how did that impact? Did you have any type of preparations for it, and how has it, excuse me, how has that affected your life?
Just having to cut back, having to pay more attention to finances, spending habits. It's probably affected the people around me, my family, as much or more than it's affected me. And it probably will affect my family as much or more than it affects me, because usually they're dependent on your income and your resources as they go to school and other things. So they're going to have to adjust as well. Everybody wasn't maybe as hard of an adjustment even for me personally as it will be for my family to adjust. So, you just have to be more responsible.
You're married?
Yes,
And how many children?
4 children. 2 children at home. Janae has a younger sister, and my boys are on their own.
How many people would you say work at the plant?
Currently, there's 2,000 people working.
And would you say the atmosphere had changed when it was worried about, people getting laid off?
Dramatically, yeah. It's been very subdued. A lot of anxiety and uncertainty, particularly for a lot of the younger people. I went through this back in 1981, 1982, which is before y'all were born, but it was really the last significant downturn that we've had in this valley as far as an extended or protracted layoff or loss of jobs. So you learn to anticipate it a little bit, but when you're younger and it's the first time you experience it, I think it's a reality check for a lot of people. So they're very, there's a lot of people that are very nervous whether they'll get their jobs back, what's going to happen in the future.
What do you think as far as, or do you think you're going to be back at Jim Lordstown, or?
Yeah, my situation's a little unique. Most of the people that have been laid off that are currently laid off are people that were recently hired last summer. Their intentions or their plans for laying more people off next month will really cut into longer term employees. People with 25 years or less will be caught in the next layoff. My situation, my job is a little different. Working as a tradesman, we're a smaller group. That's why I was laid off with more seniority. I do have some options. I could displace somebody in a different department if I'm not able to find a job in my field. I do have some options to taking another job or displacing a younger employee at some point. But most of us at this point that with seniority that have been laid off are just taking this time to see if things are going to change rather than displace other people at this point. Ultimately they will be displaced, but